Hey everyone, welcome to today's episode. Today I might sound different. That's not AI. I've got cold. But anyways, let's get to the topic for today. So today I'm going to share some of the key takeaways from a recent report that I read from a company called Reversing Labs. This report is called the State of Software Supply Chain Security. It came out earlier this month and I found it very interesting. So I thought I'll share what I've learned. So let's get started. Before I start, I have to also tell you that idea is not to promote a particular company. The idea is to promote cybersecurity learning. Okay. With that, let's get to the first thing that the report says. So essentially, the report starts with uh, explaining how software supply chain attacks work, and essentially, it says that this is the largest unaddressed attack surface lurking within businesses today, and it is impacting any company that's using or building a proprietary or a commercial uh, or even an open source software. And the threats typically include malicious open source modules, code tampering, CI/CD compromises. Okay. Now, one of the reasons these issues are growing is because of the visibility gap or blind spot for infra-security teams into these issues. There's hardly any detection or monitoring done w- when third-party software repositories are used, and even within the most common software analysis approaches, I mean, when the applications are getting built out, the most common is doing a code analysis, image analysis, and sometimes behavior analysis, which is about visibility s- of the impact or the change that software is doing in a platform. Okay. Now, the report starts with talking about number of malicious packages and how they've been rising constantly. Essentially, what this company did is they analyzed large or the most popular open source software platforms, npm, pypy, ruby gems, and few more, and it found that there are 11,000 malicious packages across these three software platforms, which is uh, a 28% increase over 2022, in which there were more than 8,700 malicious packages that were found. The code that they researched in these packages is often obfuscated or encrypted, which makes it very hard to detect. There are few examples like Abacus, uh, or my apologies, AbQueries, which is a malicious npm package that downloads second and third stage malware payloads to systems uh, that on these systems have already run the npm package. Uh, the malicious packages are also distributed by means of typo squatting. So, example, if packages file name is node 1, a typo squatting would uh, make the output as N0DE1. This fools the developer and they often download these packages. The other thing that the reports talks about is the malware in the supply chain, and it gives an example of a rat called Turco Rat, which was found in a malicious npm package. Turco Rat is an open source information stealer. Also, the report says that the PyPy repository has taken over npm as a host for malicious packages, and it is getting very popular in in comparison to npm when you talk about the number of malicious packages. This is There is an increase of around 400% year on year uh, between PyPy and npm. Also, there is a decrease in a 43% decrease, to be precise, in the number of malicious packages that were hosted on npm repository. Okay. Now, historically, there was a preference of malicious actors to post their software on npm because JavaScript is the most popular coding language on the web, and npm is a large repository with more than 2.5 million packages compared to almost 500,000 on PyPy. Now, as Python adoption is growing, the attention of cyber criminals is going towards PyPy. The other thing is the Python language itself offers some unique advantages for malware authors that's not found in other languages. Uh, So, for example, one of the samples that this company detected is uh, an attack that used compiled Python bytecode or a PYC file to evade detection by most appsec tools. Uh, so, typically, the appsec tool can scan a PY file, but it doesn't scan a PYC file. So, cyber criminals can push the malicious code in the PYC format, and appsec tools won't work. Okay. Now, the report also mentions that the type of malwares that vary from each repository. So, the number of malware samples that were identified as a downloader category is exploding, as many as 20 times on PyPy. On NPM, the analysis shows that the number of malware that were discovered are mostly in the information stealer category. Okay. So, what they are understanding is that this could be a proof of concept malware, or alternatively it's a tool used in red team assessment of organization cyber defenses. Then the report moves into the second part of what they found, which is developer secrets. So they have found multiple developer secrets, and if some of you recall, there was a high profile breach of a CI/CD vendor called Circus CI in 2023, and this uh, this is where the recommendation of rotating the secrets stored in the code was given. Now, the scan of these platforms uh, that included npm, pypy, ruby gems, and NuGet, just for a reminder, revealed that secrets the secret leaks tend to congregate with the popular application and hosting platforms such as Slack, AWS, Google, GitHub, Azure. So on npm, 77% of the total secrets that were found. Okay. PyPy accounted for 18% of the secrets, and within that, 24% of the total secrets were detected for Google services. AWS based secrets contributed 14%, and OpenAI based secrets were approximate 19.2%. Now, another popular package manager called NuGet, which is or used for primarily hosting code developed for Microsoft .NET framework, was also analyzed, and it accounted for 60% of the secrets from the Microsoft world, which includes Microsoft Azure Cloud Services as well as some part of Google secrets. Okay, so that's the summary. Uh, Last few things: private keys and web services were also found in the uh, scans, and if you have to look into the breakdown of data at PyPy, the most common thing that they have found was embedded private keys, plain text credentials within the network protocol strings, web services access tokens, private keys, web services access credentials, web service API keys, encrypted private keys, etc. Whereas in NPM world, webhook service access keys were available, embedded private keys were there, web service access credentials, web service access tokens, private SSH keys, embedded encrypted private SSH keys, encrypted private keys, web service API keys, etc. were also found. Okay. Now, the last section of the report talks about how regulator are getting serious about this category of threats. Uh, for some of you who don't recall, but last year when MoveIt based breach happened, it resulted in the exposure of personal information of around 62 million people and included breaches of dozens of agencies. You might also recall SEC's lawsuit against SolarWinds. Now, one of the reps, Rep Nancy Mace of South Carolina, told the House Subcommittee on Cybersecurity, IT, and Government Innovation at November 2023 is that we need to ensure that the software we use is safe. Now, that's a very critical statement coming from a government representative or people representative in the government. Now, Also, there have been few publications from federal agencies specific to software security. So the federal government came up with a guidance that was released by Enduring Supply Security Framework Software Supply Chain Working Panel on securing the software supply chain in September 2022, and it called for the use of software bill of materials or SBOMs. CISA put forward new guidelines for software identification ecosystem to be resource that supports software grouping. CISA also released another document called Defending Continuous Integration, Continuous Delivery Environments, and it outlines recommendations and best practices for improving defenses in the software development, security, and uh, operations process. So essentially, DevSecOps guidelines. Okay, while that was regulators, what's happening in the industry? Let's talk about that also. So in the industry, most common four things that I found really interesting in the report is the availability of open source software supply chain attack reference. This is similar to MITRE in a way that it provides a structured view of the TTPs that are used by threat actors to carry out supply chain attacks. And it's an open source software to understand how software chain attacks unfold. The second key initiative from industry is the EPSS, Exploit Prediction Scoring System, that estimates the probability of common vulnerabilities and exposures, aka CVEs, being exploited by threat actors and is meant to be used alongside with the CVSS system. Also, this software supply chain or supply chain levels for software artifacts as SLSA, which is a principle organized by tracks and levels. Also, OAP's top 10 LLM model application initiative, which is a guide for practitioners and leaders on how to best manage the security risks for LLM. So that's the key takeaway from this report. I highly recommend everyone to go through the report. I've not covered everything that's there, including some of the interesting examples of malware and case studies from the industry. So that's it for today. Thank you so much. Like, share, subscribe if you find the content useful. Do reach out to me you, on my Twitter handle or drop comments on my YouTube channel. I'll see you next time.